Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. All right, now let me catch you up. Now. Sarah, they done stepped it up a little bit, right? Because now she on a lawyer. Folks want her to take this lawyer and get him. You know what I'm saying? This lawyer got money. He's divorced, been lonely, all this old kind of stuff. But he a freak, though. And he like that dope. So he putting on. And Sarah's all in. She's all in. She done turned him out already real fast. Got his number and everything. And now he wants to see her. And he wants to spend time with her. So you got to keep in mind, she's dealing with folks. Now, her and folks ain't never been together. Folks didn't cross that line. He wanted to, but he didn't. Because he still messed with Blue. But he didn't mess with Blue enough not to get his girl involved in, his child's mama. I'm going to say it like that. He didn't mess with Blue to the point to where he didn't mind getting his child's mama involved in these shenanigans. But that's how your mind works when you're in the streets. You set up the goals. No, matter of fact, you set up the lines that you won't cross and you will cross, and you decide what's real and what's not. And it's like making it up as you go. And that's why the game is so fluid. It's so unpredictable because one person over here might say this is real, and another person over here might say this is not. And depending on what side of town you're on, what type of background you have, what type of experiences that you've had, that's what's going to be your determining factors when you say what's real and what's not. And this is how he did. But Sarah, she likes spending time with this dude, man. She likes spending time with him because it's on a whole nother level. When she goes to see him, she's staying either in a house that's way out on the outskirts of the city, or she's at a condo that's way up above the city. She sees all the lights, and he's whining and dining her. You feel me? He's buying her nice clothes that she would never be able to afford, other than maybe going to a concert or going to a wedding. But he's buying these things for her every time she comes over because he wants her to know how he feels about her, because he's starting to feel something, y'all. You know how these dudes do. When they think they got something good, they fall hard and fast. And she done put that thing on him, and especially when he was high, she done put it on him when he was high. So his mind playing tricks, even if it wasn't no good, it was good then. Because that dope had you thinking, man, it's the best thing since Swiss cheese. And I love cheese, y'all. I'm telling you now. Especially some good old American cheese. Bussin'. I'm telling you now what's real. So he's really feeling her. And keeping it real, she's feeling that lifestyle. She's starting to feel him, but she's feeling that lifestyle because she's imagining what this would be like for her kids. She's got 4 kids that are doing well in school. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the opportunities that she's been able to provide for them through these shenanigans that she's up to. But she's looking at it like one outweighs the other. For my kids, it's whatever. Now you got to keep in mind, I don't want to make excuses for Sarah, but I want you to understand something. When her and Blue got together, she was young. She had 4 kids back to back, y'all, like that. In 6 years, then he leaves. He was mistreating her. You understand? He put her in a situation where her educational opportunities, they were gone because she got to raise the kids. And then he just ups and walks out like he don't have no kids. Don't come back. And then they find out that he's in jail. He don't even bother to call her and let her know. No money, no nothing. And then one of the brothers that he has is in the streets. He sees an opportunity and he jumps on it. He jumps on, instead of going over and said, look, I heard Blue got locked up. Here, we're going to help take care of you. Give us some bread. No, that ain't what he said. He said, I got an opportunity for you. He didn't say, I know somebody that owns a car lot or hair salon or a grocery store. Now they're going to give you a job. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said, I got an opportunity for you to set up dope boys, some more criminal stuff. And in order for you to do this and us be successful, you're going to have to sleep with them. You're going to have to make them fall in love with you. You're going to have to make them trust you. That's what she had to deal with. So before you sit up there and say she ain't straight and she this and she that, consider what she went through. Consider where she was at when she had to make a decision. Do I do this or do I not? Do I want better for my kids or do I not? Do I want to eat tonight and feed my kids tonight or do we starve? Those are her options. Do we live in the streets or in a house? Those were her options. That's real stuff, y'all. That's real stuff. And then think about what those kids must have been thinking. So she had to come on and get all the way with the mama bear move and take care of them babies. Because Blue had gone. He didn't do it. And then one of his own brothers in the street, they weren't trying. They just wanted to take advantage. So now she's doing what she got to do, y'all. She's doing what she got to do. So she's spending time with this lawyer. And keep in mind, she's still getting home every night. You know what I'm saying? It might be a couple of nights between her, but she's got a babysitter and the kids are growing up and they trust the babysitter, and they're living better. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to worry about what they're going to eat, what they're going to wear, and going to school and all this and that. They're doing okay. Yes. Will they want their mother there every night? Yes. But they understand she's out working. They don't know what type of work, but she's out working and providing for them. And they love her and she loves them. But when she's away from them and she's with this lawyer at this, whether it's at his condo or his house, she relaxes. She don't forget her kids, but all of the other drama that's going on in her life, she lets it melt away. And she allows herself to relax. She allows herself to enjoy the company of this man. Wait a minute. When you let your guard down, your heart will open up. And when your heart opens up, it wants to make sure that whatever it is that's going on with you, whatever you're missing, it wants to help you with that. So what she was missing is somebody to hold her and tell her it was going to be okay. Somebody that says, I'm going to work with you, not against you. And he was saying all those things, even though Sarah knew on the one hand that she was conning this man. On the other, when she would let her guard down, she's let those words seep in to her heart. And now that those words had seeped into her heart, she started to react to them. It's natural. So when he would say these things to him, when they were laying in the bed together, and she would say these things to him, a tear would roll down her face, but she would smile, and she would kiss him and tell him, do you promise? Will you always take care of me? And he was like, I promise. In that moment, that's what she wanted. In those moments, she wanted him, and he wanted her. And she was willing for those moments to pretend and play that role. Now, he didn't know she was playing. He didn't know. But like in all things, something's always going to happen when you got some shenanigans going on now. And this is what's happening. You remember Blue? Well, Blue gets out, and he's back in the old neighborhood. And he hears what the streets are saying about Sarah. Now he's looking for her. He's looking for her. Now, he know the folks in the streets that get money that way. So he confronts them. And folks then tell him, like, yeah, what's the problem? You ain't been here. See, because in the streets ain't nobody weak. And even if you are, you got a gun. Stand up. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't got to be strong to pull the trigger. You just got to be able to pull back on that pound of pressure. What is it, 2 pounds of pressure? Pop, pop. Yeah. I'm strong now, ain't I? Yeah. All that, what you hollering for, what you shooting me for. Well, you shouldn't have came messing with me. But anyway, let me get back. My mind got distracted. Let me get back on the story, y'all. Let me get back on the story. So anyway, Blue confronts him. And they tell him, yeah, that's what it is. So he wants to know where she's at, where she lives. They're like, bro, you find her how you find her. So now he's pissed. Now don't forget, now Blue was a hard hitter in the streets before he left, and he still is. He still is. But folks don't want to give up Sarah's location because if he does, he knows it's a possibility that Blue gonna mess it up. So he ain't telling them nothing. Find it how you find it, man. I don't know where she's at. And folks tell him that we ain't got no more business going. So now Blue's looking. And he's in the streets. He's running it down. And he hears about and he learns about the first dude that Sarah helped folks knock off. Now, see, folks, you know what I'm saying, they trying to keep it on the low. But the other brothers, they talking about it like, yeah, you know, they hit dude up, man, dude in the hospital, this and that. He can't even think straight no more. Blah, 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 blah. They talking like that, right? So Blue pays him a visit. He's in a nursing home. This dude is in his 30s. And he's in a nursing home because he ain't got no more sense now. They done beat him almost to death and left him in a house that was burning down, and he happens to survive, but he's gone. If you understand what I'm saying. So when Blue goes to see him, he's trying to get any information out of him that he can. Dude don't know nothing. He is no help to Blue. So now he keeps on looking, he keeps searching, and he figures out what's going on. And he finds out through this other female, this hating on Sarah and the other two friends. She tells him that they moved to the suburbs. She don't know where. She don't know their address. But now you look here, let me tell you something. When you in the streets, you ain't like no private investigator. You can go and look up this and go down to the DMZ and all. Now it's not like that. When you in the streets and you looking for somebody, you get a location, you just drive over there. Just ride through the neighborhood, and that's what he did, riding through the neighborhood. Riding through the neighborhood and hoping that he sees something. And guess what? He does. He sees his kids playing in the front yard, having fun, and he pulls up at the house. And while he pulls up at the house, Sarah is walking out on the front porch, and she sees him, and she freezes. And he looks at her with that look that he used to give her when he was about to beat her. And she tells the kids, y'all come on in the house. And they ran up on the porch and walked into the house. They didn't even pay attention to him. They had forgotten what he looked like. They run into the house. He walks across the yard and he walks right up on her and said, this is where you live now? And she looks at him without saying a word, and she turns to try to walk into the house. He grabs her by the arm. He pushes her into the house, and he follows her in. And now the kids turn around and look. And one of the kids said, who is that? He said, I'm your daddy. And then they look at him, and then they recognize him. But they don't run to him and hug him like kids would do. They just stand there in shock and awe and look at him like, why are you here? Where have you been? You know how a kid will look at you and got all the kind of questions going on in their head, but they don't say it? That's how they looked at him. And he knew what they were thinking. And he yelled at them, go on upstairs. Go to your room. Me and your mama got things to talk about. And he grabbed her by the arm. Grabbed the woman by the arm and drug her into the living room, threw her down on the couch, sat down in the chair and said, what you got going on? He said, I hear you in the setting up dope boys. He said, I just came from the nursing home and hollering at one. I'm the one you set up. He said, now what do you think the police would think about that? Now fear ran all over her. This man threatening her. This man that ruined her life. The only good thing that he did was gave her 4 kids that she loves to death. But he walked out on them. And now he was back threatening to tear down everything that she had built, even though it was wrong. So she didn't say a word. So he stood up after a few minutes of ranting and raving and talking crazy and all this and that and said, fix me something to eat like you used to. She got up and she went to the kitchen and he followed behind her because he didn't trust her. And she was crying as she was fixing him a plate. She had some food that was cold in the refrigerator, so she took it out, put it on the plate, put it in the microwave, and she set it on the table in front of him. And he sat there and ate it. And after he finished, then he got up and he said, I'll be back later. So when he left, she called folks and she said, he's here. And they said, we know. We know. So he goes back to the old neighborhood, Blue did. Now he confronts folk now. He's talking crazy to them. And lo and behold, gunplay comes in. Blue pulls a gun and he shoots folks. He shoots him, guns him down. Talking about you trying to take my woman. Now while folks is laying there bleeding, he laying there bleeding. Blue looking at him. So folks shoot back. Pow! Hit him. Blue stumbles back. Man, I'm hit. He strikes out running. Folks laying there bleeding. Blue run off. He bleeding. They take folk to the hospital. He's okay. Blue end up getting to the hospital. He's okay. But now he know that it's real. See, let me explain something to you. A lot of times people, and it doesn't apply to everybody, but I just want to make a generalization here and whatnot. But a lot of times people like Blue, they like to beat on women. They can't take it when it comes to them. They can't. In most cases. So now he know folks ain't running from him. Now they the folks now. He the folks too. But he know bro ain't running from him. Now he don't know what to do. But he did what he always does. He runs. He runs. Sarah is sitting at the house with the light on, terrified, thinking that he's coming back, and he don't show up. 2 or 3 days go by, and he still does not show up. She's heard about what happened, and he still does not show up. So now, out of fear, she goes back to the neighborhood and she's asking questions. And she comes up on folks. And folks he's got bandages all over because he got shot, you know what I'm saying, in the shoulder. And he says, look, he's gone. And she said, gone? What do you mean gone? Because she was scared that he was dead. He's like, no, he's not dead. Not dead. He's gone. He got on down. We don't know where he's at. She said, I got to go. I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. And he said, where you going to go? She said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he told her, I understand. He said, if you need me, just holler at me. I got you. And he said, do you need any money? She's like, no, I don't want anything else from you. Thank you. And she left, got on down. Now the lawyer, he calls her. And he tells her, he said, look, I want to see you. Now he don't know nothing about nothing that has happened. He said, look, I want to see you. And she's talking to him for the first time in a frantic voice. She said, not tonight. He said, what's wrong, baby? Tell me what's wrong. And something inside of her made her feel that she could tell him. So she said, I'll be there in an hour and I'll tell you everything. So she drives over. She meets him at the condo. She goes in And she's genuine. She's crying. But she wants to get this out because she doesn't know what to do. And she's not looking for him to save her. She's not looking for it, but she needs somebody to unburden herself to. That's all this was. She wasn't looking for anything from him other than to listen. So she told him everything from A to Z, even how she was sent to set him up. She told him everything. And after a couple of hours of them talking, and he's sitting there on the couch listening to her, he tells her that he still loves her. Now she's looking at him. Now keep in mind, she's not street, but she's street. And this is his lawyer, right? He don't understand nothing. You know what I'm saying about the streets. And she said, did you not hear what I just told you? I was going to set you up to be robbed. He said, but why did you tell me? Why are you telling me now? And she put her head down, and she didn't want to say it. She didn't want to say it. But he said it for her. He said, because you care about me. If you didn't care about me, you wouldn't have come over here to tell me this. And for the first time in her life, she knew that this man knew her. She had a man that knew her from the inside out, and she felt safe with him. That's why she told him. And she cried and she cried, and he comforted her. He comforted her. He said, stay with me tonight. Stay here. You'll be safe. And she said, what about my kids? I can't leave my kids at home like that while he's out there. And he said, call the babysitter and tell her to bring them to me. Meet me here. So she said, are you sure? He said, I've never been sure about anything in my life like I am about this. So she called the babysitter. She told the babysitter, get in the car and bring them to the condo. And when they got there, they had their pajamas on and night stuff on, and they were all tired and sleepy, talking about what is going on. Mama, what are we doing? So she took them in, put them in the bedroom, and her and the lawyer, they stayed out there in the living room. The babysitter, they paid the babysitter, and she left. And she promised that she wouldn't say anything about where they were at to anybody. Next day, they get word that Blue had robbed a convenience store to get some money and had gotten caught. The clerk shot him in the leg, and they had him in custody at the hospital. She went to see him at the hospital to tell him that she didn't want to hear from him or see him ever again. He lay in the hospital not knowing what to say. But he knew he was going back to the penitentiary. He told her, he said, look, I got something on you. And if you leave me like this, I'm going to tell them everything. She said, I'm not worried about that. Not worried about that at all. Because what had happened, and what Blue didn't understand, is when she told her lawyer, her new man, what happened, he called his friend the DA. This is a whole nother world, y'all. This is a whole nother world. She called the DA. The lawyer called the DA and told the DA what had happened. And he said, don't worry about it, so to speak. Don't worry about it. And left it alone. Because the way they looked at it, it's just people in the streets killing each other like we do, participating in our own genocide. When she walked out of that hospital room, she never looked back. Never looked back. So when I got the opportunity to share this story after talking to Blue, I asked him, I said, tell me something, bro. Tell me something. Why would you go back and want her to help you? Or why would you want to go back and invade her life like that after you walked out on her? And he said it. And this is what I want y'all to remember. This is what I want y'all to remember. Because it's important when you're dealing with people in the streets, because they may never even tell you this. He said that she was the best thing that ever happened to me, but I didn't know how to treat her. I didn't know how to treat her. And I wanted her back, but I didn't know how to get her back. Why is that important? See, Blue had restricted himself to the life of the streets. All he had to do was turn it around, and he could have had everything that he wanted, whether it would have been Sarah or not. But when you committed to the streets like he was, you still want what you want. Now, that's when you're being selfish. And the streets make you a selfish, greedy, manipulative, deceitful person. Remember that. Because if you think you can control the streets and how it's going to make you feel and how it's going to make you treat other people, you're wrong. You can't. The streets has a mind, a life. It's a different entity. You can't control it. You can't control it, y'all. Remember that. Stay out them streets, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.